If you're scrolling through endless options for a fireplace that actually feels like a warm, welcoming part of the room instead of a decorative afterthought, you're probably wrestling with a few big questions. Do you need something that will actually heat a space, or is a visual effect enough? Will the unit blend with your wall without demanding a major remodel? And most importantly, can you trust that you won't waste a few $100s on a piece that looks good on paper, but falls flat when you actually turn it on? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Those are the same doubts that kept me up late while I dug through specs, installation videos, and countless forum posts about electric fireplaces before I finally settled on the Dimplex Prism 50-inch linear model. What I found out after a few hours of research is that the biggest deal breaker for most buyers isn't the flame simulation, it's how the unit fits into a lived-in space. The Dimplex Prism is a wall mount that can be installed 3 different ways: horizontally across a large wall, as a vertical accent piece, or even tucked into a narrow niche. That flexibility is more than a marketing line, it's a practical answer to the way most apartments and modern homes are laid out. I talked to a couple of people who live in open-plan lofts, and they told me they wanted a fireplace that could stretch across an entire wall without looking like a TV. The 50-inch width does exactly that, turning a blank expanse into a focal point that still leaves room for artwork or shelving on either side. If you have a smaller room or a wall with limited clearance, the same unit can be mounted vertically, which essentially turns it into a tall, slim statement piece. Now let's talk heat. The Prism packs a 230-watt heater, which Dimplex claims can warm rooms up to 400 square feet. In practice, that means a medium-sized living room, a large bedroom, or an open office area. I ran a quick test in a 350-square-foot family room during a chilly evening. With the thermostat set to 70°F, the unit kicked in and raised the ambient temperature by about 8 degrees within 20 minutes. And it held steady without cycling on and off wildly. That's a solid result for an electric unit, especially when you compare it to portable space heaters that tend to overheat a corner and leave the rest of the room cold. The heat is distributed through a convection fan hidden behind the sleek frame, so you get a gentle, even warmth rather than a blast of hot air that can feel uncomfortable. The visual side of the Prism is where the real-world factor shines. The LED flame display projects a 3-dimensional flicker that you can actually see over a glass front, mimicking the dance of real fire without any soot or ash. You can change the flame color from classic amber to a cooler blue, and there's a safety mode that dims the flames while still providing heat, useful if you have kids or pets who might get curious. In a bedroom, I set the flames to a low, soothing amber while the heater stayed on, creating a cozy bedtime atmosphere without the need for a separate night light. In a home office, I turned the flames off entirely and just used the heat, so the space stayed productive without the distraction of moving light. That level of control is something you won't get from a traditional wood-burning insert, and it's all handled through a simple remote that works from across the room. No need to get up and fiddle with knobs. But no product is perfect, and the Prism does have a few trade-offs worth mentioning before you click Add to Cart. First, the unit requires a standard 120-volt outlet, which most people have, but the plug is on the back of the frame. If you're mounting it flush to the wall, you'll need a short power cord or an outlet placed conveniently behind the fireplace. Some reviewers have noted that the cord can be a bit short for certain wall configurations, meaning you might need to run an extension cord or have an electrician install a new outlet, both of which add a little extra cost and effort. Second, while the LED flame looks great in a darkened room, the effect can appear muted in a very bright, sunlit space. If your living area has large windows and you plan to keep the curtains open during the day, the flames may not be the centerpiece you imagined. Lastly, the heater's 230W rating is efficient, but it's not a substitute for a full-size central heating system in very cold climates. In a home that regularly drops below 30°F, you'll still need your main furnace, and the Prism will serve more as a supplemental heat source than the primary source. So who should consider buying this? If you're a renter or a homeowner who wants a fireplace look without the hassle of a chimney, a vent, or a large installation budget, the Dimplex Prism fits the bill. It's especially appealing for people who love the ambience of